Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're watching from. This is Controversial Sitcom. Today's topic is breadwinner and the head of a household. I had the idea for this topic while having a discussion with a couple of my friends last week. These are a couple and we're finding difficulty because they were involved in a situation that the differentiation of a breadwinner and a head of a household has to be established. And at the end of the day, I looked at it and said, this is particular something that is happening to a couple or a lot of people out there, not able to understand the difference. But what I'll be discussing or sharing on today will be from a controversial point of view or viewpoint. Now, from the controversial perspective, breadwinner and the head of a household. This is it. One is stable, the other is unstable. What do I mean by one is stable? One is stable, meaning that the title or the title bearer is unchangeable. It stays that way. It doesn't matter come rain or come sunshine. Why the other one is unstable, meaning that it's changeable. Any member of that family can occupy that position. We will know which is which when we're back. Please stay tuned and don't forget to subscribe and like the video. I'll be back. Who and what is the breadwinner? The breadwinner, typically defined in a simple context, is the person or the member of the family who potentially is referred to one that earns the majority or the primary income of the family or group for the functionality of that family. So per se, with that definition, the breadwinner can be any person, can be the wife, can be the kids, the children, down to the last born, can be anyone in that immediate group, family, society, or community that is the breadwinner. Now, traditionally, the breadwinner had often been referred to some person who potentially is the man, also referred to as the head of the household, that also has to do with the decision making of that potential group or that family. That is what the traditional meaning of the breadwinner was. Now, in modern society, modern era, the definition of the breadwinner has changed. It has changed due to a lot of factors. We currently have the equality that was pushed in, which is a beautiful thing for the women. It's a beautiful, awesome thing. We also have the Me Too, the wokeness of the immediate modern environment. Now, the women are able, or most women are able to earn the same pay as the men and able to compete in that same level as the men and also able to bring in such potential income to the family. Therefore, we have to revisit what the breadwinner or who the breadwinner is. In the modern era, it takes two to tango. The expectation of the immediate family, the kind of life that the family had agreed upon to live, on how to maintain that standard of living. It entails incomes, it entails financial functionality, financial responsibility for the functionality of the family. So therefore, who makes the more? The position of the breadwinner. Anyone can be the breadwinner. That position is a variable position. It changes. That slot, anybody can occupy. That slot can be anyone. But in this modern age where the controversial point of view comes in is that we have different perspectives. Okay, let's look at it from this angle. The reason why I'm having this topic is the family, my friends, beautiful family that I had to intervene or share a little insight with. The woman makes good salary, above 6 figures. The man makes below 6 figures, but the woman was more adamant that the man should be the breadwinner. There's nothing wrong with that. But the standard of living that the family has chosen for themselves The income of the man per se cannot uphold that standard of living. If that's the case, why are you, as a woman who has preached equality, focused on 70-30? Because I see these numbers flying around like 70-30 in marital life, that the man should do 70% and the woman should do 30% of the spending in a family. It's something that causes confusion, because we have to understand what the breadwinner is. The breadwinner is synonymous with the standard of living that the family has upheld for themselves. If I'm living in a neighborhood or a house where I have to pay, let's say, rent of $5,000, and my income as a man is less, it's about $2,000. Let's say, okay, let me not exaggerate, $4,000. I have other expenses. So would you say because I am the man, I should function more in that environment? The breadwinner perspective, it changes. It changes. It can be the child, it can be the woman, it can be the man. Most often, and very important, and if possible, it should be the man, because it gives the man prestige, integrity, and respect from other members of the family. They look at him as the figurehead. They look at him as the one that should be in charge. But reverse is the case, because that's not what it is in this modern era. Now, let's look at why the man had been looked as the one that should be the breadwinner. This is more functional in traditional life. In traditional lifestyle, traditional African society, traditional European society, or Asian society, the man had functioned in that group. But the thing is this, there is a clause. The man functions in that group because the man goes to the farm, hunts, and does other needed activities to maintain the family. What does the woman do? In traditional life, the woman was more at home, taking care of the kids, taking care of the home domestic life, cooking and making sure that the morale, teaching the kids morale, teaching the kids the culture, the values of the system, of the family, of the community, of the ethnic group. Why the man was outside to earn a living. Come to 2023, that is not what we have. We have a world where the woman is able to make as much or even more than the man. We have a world where the woman is functioning exceptionally higher than ever before. We have a world in this United States of America, it's a matriarch environment. The woman legally is seen as someone that is fragile, but that's not the case. So legality wants to protect the woman in all form, which is good, it's okay. But then, if that is the case, if you preach equality, which I spoke and I told my friends, especially the wife, if you preach equality, you want to function in every environment. Because as a man, you don't want the man, you want the man to pay for the house, pay for the school, everything, and also pay for extra school fees for the kids and extra lessons. But mind you, in traditional life, if you as a woman was at home taking care of the kids, practically the woman wouldn't have to pay for extra lessons for the kids, because that was a function of the traditional African woman. So, what am I saying? I am saying that the breadwinner doesn't have to be something that causes confusion in the family. Doesn't have to be something that causes confusion amongst the couple. There are a lot of culture that have otherwise, where the woman also might be the breadwinner, which is good. But what I'm saying is that it changes. It changes. The man is the breadwinner, the woman is the breadwinner, the kids, the children, whatever it is. That is what I'm saying. Who is the head of a family or household? In traditional life, the head of a household was synonymous with the breadwinner of the home, which I just explained. But that is not what is the case currently. It differs. The head of a household is a slot that is unchangeable. The head of household remains forever in the life of that group or that family or that community or sect. That is the head. In majority of culture, the male is often the head of the household. There are some other culture or diverse environment where gender is not accounted for. Anybody can be the head of the household. The woman can be the head of household in most culture around the world. But what I'm saying is that that position doesn't change easily. You can't just change, unlike the breadwinner that can change depending on who makes the majority of the income or the primary income to maintain the functionality of the family. I've had situations where the kids actually pay off the mortgage of the family, or the kids are the ones sustaining the family in terms of feeding, in terms of mortgage or house rent if you're renting or whatnot, name it. But the head of a household is the baba, it's the father, it's the male in majority of the culture around the world. Haven't you think about it? Why is it that when it comes to marriage, the female, the woman, always is the one that changes her surname to the surname of the man, not the other way around? I mean, people say there are some cultures that does that where the man takes the name of the female, but it's rare. In terms of probability. I don't think it's, you can't account for it more. Guys, to maintain a good family, a good marriage, a good life, couples have to understand this, the breadwinner and the head of the household. Couples have to be able to differentiate and understand their rules to maintain that functionality of the family. That is what I'm talking about. We'll talk about this next time, part 2. I'll have a format to discuss it. Please don't forget to subscribe, share this channel, leave your comment, and we'll discuss more important topics. Thank you.